Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating thought experiment. It's inspired by Buchi Emecheta's classic novel, The Joys of Motherhood. We're going to look at modern motherhood, but through the eyes of someone from a totally different time, just to see how much has really changed and maybe what's surprisingly stayed the same. So here's the big question. What would happen if the novel's main character, Ego, suddenly found herself living as a mother today? I mean, how would her world, her identity, her entire definition of what it means to be successful just be completely turned upside down? To really get the scale of this change, we have to first understand the incredible weight she was already carrying.
This quote from the novel, wow, it's just absolutely crushing, and it gets right to the heart of her reality. Her whole existence, her very being, was a kind of enslavement to her role as a mother. And this wasn't just a feeling she had, this was the expectation from everyone.
Okay, so to really grasp the journey we're about to take, let's set the stage. What exactly was the world of New Ego like? Well, simply put, it was a life built entirely around one single, all-consuming duty.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The constraints on her life were total. Think about it. A woman's value wasn't her own. It was measured by her fertility and, even more specifically, her ability to have sons. She had zero economic power, no say over her own body, and the best thing she could be was, well, someone who basically erased herself for her family.
Now, let's do it. Let's transport Ego to today. If she woke up in a 21st century city, she'd find all these incredible new freedoms, but as we're about to see, they come with a whole new set of really complex conflicts.
And this right here, this shows you the mind-blowing scale of that change. On the left, you have a life with basically zero personal say. And on the right, the chance to have a career, to decide if and when to have kids, to have your own money. The idea that you can be so many things at once, not just a mother.
And if you want a really concrete example, just look at this number. Back in Ego's time, getting married as a teenager was the norm. Today, in many places, the average age for a first baby is in the late 20s, usually after years of education and building a career. That one single shift, that's a revolution in how a woman's life is structured.
But here's the thing, just because the old pressures are gone doesn't mean there are no pressures. A modern Ego would run smack into this new ideal, something sociologists call intensive mothering. It's this expectation that modern motherhood has to be this all-consuming project, perfectly managed, emotionally dialed in, and yeah, super expensive.
And that intense pressure leads right into something else, the double burden. It's this crazy expectation that, yeah, women can have careers now, but they're still supposed to handle the second shift at home. And that becomes the central struggle for so many modern mothers, right? Juggling these amazing new opportunities with these really old expectations.
So where do we see all this playing out in our culture? Well, a great place to look is our movies and TV shows. Because how we portray motherhood on screen, that tells you a ton about what we're all thinking and feeling.
Okay, this table breaks down two really great examples. First, you've got English Vinglish. Here's a mother who feels undervalued, so she goes out and reclaims her own self-worth. The message is pretty clear. You can be a mom and grow as a person. Then there's Badhaai, which totally flips the script on the rules of motherhood, arguing it's a personal choice, not some social duty. Both of these movies offer this sense of hope, right? A kind of resolution that New Ego just never, ever had.
And then, of course, you've got the world of advertising. Oh boy, this is where we meet the ultimate ideal, the supermom. You know her. She's the one who does it all, flawlessly, and with a great big smile.
And there's a very clear formula for this supermom. She's expected to juggle everything. But the modern twist is that she achieves this perfection through, well, shopping. It's so clever, right? It takes the language of empowerment, you can have it all, and twists it into, you can have it all if you just buy the right stuff. It's basically Ego's sense of duty, just repackaged for a consumer economy.
But you know what's interesting? Even advertising is starting to have a more honest conversation. Campaigns like Ariel's Share the Load are a perfect example. They're a counter-narrative. They actually call out that double burden and point to the inequality that the whole supermom myth is designed to cover up. All right, so all of this brings us to our final big idea. Because even with all these massive changes that we've seen, Ego's story, her legacy, it leaves us with a conversation that is definitely not finished.
And that brings us right back to the big, fundamental question. We've got more choices, we've got more career opportunities, we're talking about this stuff more openly in our media. But
Has the underlying system really truly changed?
And honestly, when you look at the hard data, the answer is, well, it's complicated. The hard truth is these structural problems are still here. We're still talking about a gender pay gap. There's what's called the motherhood penalty, where becoming a mom can actually hurt your career. And we still, as a society, just don't place enough value on the work of caregiving. In a way, these are the modern-day cages that echo the one a new ego is trapped.
And this is exactly why Buchi Emecheta's novel is still so incredibly powerful today. See, unlike those hopeful movie endings we talked about, her story gives you zero comfort. Anuego's life is a tragedy, and it forces you to look head-on at the devastating cost of a system that judges a woman's worth by only one thing.
So, in the end, this is the challenge that the novel leaves rattling around in your head. Real liberation. It isn't just about having more choices inside the same old system. It requires a fundamental reimagining of how we value people, period, beyond just their role in having children. It's asking us to build a world where a person's worth is tied to, well, everything they are, their full, messy, complex humanity. And that's a question we are all still trying to figure out.